Hello! Today we're going to be taking a look at another piece of my probably favorite toy line from my childhood, G.I. Joe, the real American hero. Specifically a talking battle commander, which is in this case Stalker, who wants to party, attack, and blitz anyone who dare oppose him. So Stalker also seems to come with a G.I. Joe Hall of Fame collector card, which makes sense since Stalker was part of the original wave of G.I. Joe in the 80s, from 1982. This particular Stalker comes from 1991, which you can kind of tell by the absurd size of his weapons and the electronic gimmick, which allows him to issue 3 battle commands and electronic combat sounds. So not only does he party, attack, and blitz, he also probably makes that machine gun sound that we all heard throughout the 80s and 90s on little keychains. On the back at the top here we see the other figures that they decided to give a voice to, which is General Hawk, Stalker of course, Cobra Commander, and Overkill, who I have not heard of, but it sounds like a very 90s type character. I'm kind of the opinion, and this is just my opinion, that the 88 wave of G.I. Joe was kind of the pinnacle for me. And anything beyond that started to get a little, started to kind of drift from what I liked about G.I. Joe. And lower on the backing card, you've got Stalker's file card and the cutaway window where you could push the buttons to make him speak. And you can tell some other folks have tried to kind of poke in there. It's pretty dented up. I did try it. He, of course, does not speak. He uses 3, A76 batteries, which I'm hoping are just LR44s. Oh, that's way too close. So underneath Stalker, which didn't come off very cleanly, there are some instructions about how to remove and replace the batteries in the backpack. You're encouraged to use your sonic backpack as a handheld weapon. I don't know if that means throwing it at someone or what. Open to interpretation. Here are the 2 accessory weapons that Stalker comes with, as well as the base plate. Which is nice that they give you that, considering how big his talking backpack is. The weapons are ridiculous. They're really oversized. They completely lack that kind of realism that I think early G.I. Joe kind of tried to balance. So I'm not a big fan. The top one is labeled on the back of his card as an M19 30 caliber machine gun, which I think is fictional. The smaller bottom weapon is not labeled on the back. There was also this little package of things, which looks to be his trading card and something else. So let's open that up. I had assumed that the trading card for Hall of Fame was going to be Stalker, since it came with this figure, but looks like it was a randomized thing. You got Dusty, and on the back you've got kind of a repeat of Dusty's file card. On top of the card was this folded up little thing. I'm not quite sure what it is yet, but it says a hideous plan unfolds on Cobra Island. Murky details inside. So the murky details are that Cobra Island has some energy sucking device and they have to deploy the G.I. Joes. It's just a little ad for some of the vehicles and figures. So you've got the Skyhawk, the Whale hovercraft, Cobra battle barge and jetpack, and the Cobra Sea Ray, which of these I had the Whale and the Sea Ray, and the Whale was just awesome. You could also order your own personalized G.I. Joe dog tag. And on the back of that was an order form where you could get your dog tag or any of the featured toys. The G.I. Joe hovercraft was $33.70 at that time. And the most expensive thing there. After that it's $9.45 for the Sea Ray. So with inflation, the hovercraft would cost around $80 in 2025. So, in trying to get Stalker to be able to give his battle commands again. To get the backpack off, there's 4 small screws, and of course one of them was stripped, so I had to get the drill out to actually drill the head of the screw off to get the pack open. I did do a little bit of damage to the outside of his case just to get it off, but it wasn't too terrible, but unfortunate. His O-ring is also in such bad condition that he can't really even stand at this point. And the only way to get access to his innards is going to be removing the backpack. So since he's in such dire straits here with his internals, I'm just going to try to take the backpack off unless one of these screws strip. But what's really quite annoying is that I'm going to try to replace the batteries in this thing, but it just absolutely falls to pieces as soon as you remove it from its housing, because nothing is really attached. So the speaker is just kind of loose, not glued, or maybe perhaps it was at one time and the glue's just given out, but as you can see, it just kind of was all held together by the case itself. The surgery was a success, and Stalker's enormous backpack has been removed, and he is still in one piece for now, although that O-ring is on its last legs. So I'm not even going to try to have him hold any of his weapons, because I'm sure a lot of people who had G.I. Joe know that the thumbs were fairly brittle, and when moving his arms there was some kind of distressing cracking sounds. Feels very brittle, so I'm not going to push it with him. But here, I'll bring these closer to the microphone. I think my favorite is the "let's party" with how fast he says it. But the backpack is really silly. It's all in service of this sound feature. It's got a lesser backpack molded into the detail on it there, which is kind of funny. These strange kind of poles on the side. So I'm not really sure what they were going for, because it looks kind of electronic in places, and other places just like canvas. So I don't know, but you can see this large post here in the middle goes into his back hole, which G.I. Joe's always had. The 3 screws here screw into his back, and then there's the 4 screw holes holding the whole thing together. But in terms of the figure itself, the overall look isn't really my thing. This figure is all made out of new molds. He wasn't repurposed or anything like that. He looks kind of pained in his expression. The gold and yellow and black kind of has a cobra feeling to it. Maybe it's just because I'm thinking of the Cobra bat, and Destro for some reason. I don't know. It just doesn't look like Stalker to me. And he's got these kind of strange banana colored camouflage pants, and whatever this thing is on his ankle, I don't know. It was that whole 90s comic aesthetic where they would just put pouches and more stuff all over every part of a character. But you can see just how loose his legs are. Well, there he is, electronic action battle talking Blitz'em Let's Party Stalker, with his mini fridge that can yell commands at you. Yeah, typical later G.I. Joe, the silly enormous weapons. The little talking gimmick is fun. It just reminds me of the time. Figure itself is definitely in that later period of G.I. Joe. It's not my favorite, as I've said, but it's just nice to be able to talk about G.I. Joe in general, since the toys command such a high price that it was fun to be able to find something that I was okay with opening. But yeah, I've got another little fun G.I. Joe artifact that I'll open in the next video, so Hope you enjoyed this one, and as always, thanks for watching.